Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name's Lizzie and today I've got a bit of a sewing catch-up video for you. So I've got a few makes that I want to show you, and I recently went to the Elisalex Bodice Fitting Masterclass at the new craft house and I'm really excited to tell you a bit about it. I am actually currently filming this on my lunch break, which is very novel and exciting. Like, it's daylight, it's during the day. But unfortunately, the reason that I am able to do this is because I'm working from home at the moment due to coronavirus, social distancing, trying to prevent the spread of it. I'm not going to dwell on it because I think it's causing everybody so much stress and anxiety, and I want this video to be a little tiny 10 minutes worth of distraction. I know I'm like just really needing to try and distract myself at the moment, so I'm trying to watch things and listen to things that have nothing to do with coronavirus to give my mind a bit of a break from all this craziness that's happening. So to get started, I have done an alteration and I'm very pleased with myself because, as you know from my previous videos, I'm trying really hard to kind of every couple of makes go back and actually revisit an old make that I can improve by altering it. And this is a work skirt that I made a while ago, and I used the sew over it ultimate pencil skirt pattern and kind of hacked it, so I brought the waistline down to sort of a natural waist. I shortened it and it's great. It's really good for work. I like that it's got all these coloured speckles in it so I can match it with lots of different like tops and blouses. It was a little bit big on the waist, so I took it in at the waist. Now, present Lizzie is so happy with past Lizzie because I actually was a bit lazy when I made this skirt, and instead of lining it properly, I interlined it, so it's not all bagged out properly. You can see that I've got, you know, that's the side seam there, this is the zip at the back. But when you interline something, you basically use the outer fabric and the lining fabric as if they're one piece of fabric and sort of sew them together, which is kind of I guess a slightly lazier way to do it, but it meant it was really easy to take it in because I literally just had to like unpick it at the side seams, pinch it in, sew it up, bish bash bosh. So that was good. And another issue that I found with this skirt was that it restricts my walking a little bit. So I had shortened it quite a bit, so it's kind of like mid-thigh, like below mid-thigh actually. It's closer to my knees than mid-thigh, but it's not knee length. And it was kind of restricting my walking, and the pattern, the sew over it ultimate pencil skirt pattern, does have a kick pleat. But I kind of hoped I'd shortened it enough to not need the kick pleat. That was a bit of a mistake, and because I'd actually already obviously cut the fabric without including the piece for the kick pleat, I couldn't add a kick pleat. So I've literally just, this is the hem of the skirt, I just unpicked it a bit and sewed it back up again with a little split, and that's made it much easier to walk in. I'm the type of person who likes to take steps, you know, 2 at a time up the escalators on the tube. Well, actually maybe not on the escalators, but on any steps I come across on my commute, I'm like, right, 2 at a time, here we go. And then the only other thing that I needed to change about this skirt was it was really lacking belt loops. I like to wear a little belt with my work outfit, so I just think it smartens them up a bit but also nips that waist in. And so I added 4 belt loops that you can see here, 2 on the back, 2 on the front, and yeah, it just means I can wear a smart little belt. So that's that one. I'm really pleased that I made the effort to do that because it's now made this skirt so much more wearable, and I've been wearing it probably at least twice a week for the last few weeks to work, so good times. I also have more of this fabric, and I've told you guys before that I had been planning to make a jacket out of it, but I've seen some people recently wearing the, oh, it's a pattern from the Named Clothing book, their newest book, and it's like the sort of jacket style double-breasted dress. I kind of really want to see if I've got enough fabric to make it, but I'm not sure if I do. And also I don't really want to buy the whole book just for one pattern. But anyway, we'll see. I'll let you know at some point in the next few months what I make out of my spare fabric of this, but it will be something work related. The second thing that I've made since my last video is this that I'm wearing now. So you're probably sick and tired of hearing about these by now. This is my 3rd one, and it's been my winter uniform. I'll put a picture in so you can see it slightly better, but it is a hack of the True Bias Nico top and dress. I oversized it to make it like bigger, and but it's got the neckline and the neck piece of the Nina Lee South Bank sweater. And I basically have made it a tunic length with a slit at the side, so I can wear it with leggings. Oh sorry, it's got slits at both sides. And it's just kind of my cozy, kind of like, it's not pyjamas, but it's also not quite real clothes. It can be real quite clothes if I wear it over like jeans or whatever, but I've basically been wearing it over leggings, and it's just comfy, and I can wear it in the house and feel like I'm dressed, but I'm really just in a big baggy cozy jumper and leggings. But then also if I leave the house, my bum's covered, I'm not flashing the world, but I can put a little skirt on underneath or some jeans if I want to. And I just love it. This fabric was from Higgs and Higgs, but I've got all the 3 different colourways of this fabric that I've bought. I think have ended up being from different fabric shops. So there's lots of fabric shops that stock this like cable knit jersey. It's like a ponte sort of weight. Oh, I did have one disaster when I was making this, and I got really upset with my husband, and it wasn't really his fault, but he was really well natured about it. Let me show you. Hang on. Look what happened to my poor jumper. I was preparing to press it, and I got the iron out, put the iron on, didn't realise that my husband had most recently used the iron and had it whacked right up to number 3 because he'd been ironing his work shirts, and I didn't turn the temperature down, and I just put it on and was like, ah! But luckily, thank goodness, it's on the inside, and it doesn't seem to be fraying or anything. I think I got a bit lucky. I don't know if I can do some kind of patch job on it because it doesn't feel very nice, and I don't want it to sort of fray and become a hole, so I might have to put a patch over it or something. Let me know if any of you have any tips on how I can remedy this, or, you know, hide it and disguise it and strengthen it. But yeah, always check your iron settings before you start pressing, people. Last but not least, I would like to tell you all about my experience a couple of weekends ago at the new craft house. I went for the Bodice Fitting Masterclass with Elisalex. It was so good. I had such a good weekend. I've been putting it off for a long time. I've had my eye on this class for probably over a year. I can't remember when they first started doing this class. But I've had so much, or heard so much good feedback about it. I've had several people in the sewing community say, oh Lizzie, you must do it, it's so worth it, it's so good. But it's really expensive, which had just meant I've been putting it off. And annoyingly, I think they have now put up the price, so I paid £400 for the weekend, and I think it used to be £350. Damn it. But, you know, good for them, they should charge, people are prepared to pay it, so they should charge what they deserve to be paid for it. But yeah, it was so good. So it was a 2-day course. It was on the Saturday and the Sunday, and on the first day we first sat down and sort of back to basics, learned how to measure ourselves, learned how to choose a pattern. And I was thinking, oh, a bit cocky, but you know, I've been dressmaking for like 3 years, I know how to measure myself. Well, no, I learned a lot about measuring myself. I learned about, you know, the true definition of a dressmaker's cup size, which is totally different to, you know, what the lady in M&S will tell you a cup size is when she measures you. It's like not the same. So I learned what my dressmaker's cup size is. I learned, you know, how you work that out based on your high bust, which is up here, and your full bust, which is where you measure across the fullest part of your bust. So I learned the proper way to choose your pattern size based on your high bust measurement, and it just those basic things blew my mind, because it basically, I'd always measured my bust and chosen my pattern based on my bust measurement, but really what you need to be doing is figuring out what the high bust measurement is of that pattern. And usually if the pattern is drafted for a B cup, which I think most patterns are, but that does vary pattern company to pattern company. But if, say, on a By Hand London pattern, the bust measurement was 33, the high bust, 33 inches, the high bust measurement would be 2 inches smaller than that, so 31. So you kind of have to subtract 2 off all of the bust size measurements and compare that with your high bust measurement, and I'd basically been, the reason I've been struggling to fit things like on my shoulders, I've kind of got it in my head that I've got these huge broad shoulders. No, it's actually because I've just been making too small a size, because I haven't been measuring myself properly, haven't been choosing my pattern size properly. So actually, when I choose the right size based on my high bust, the patterns are like fitting my shoulders so much better. So that's just, you know, sounds like a minor thing, but my goodness, revolutionary. So we learned some basics like that, and we learned how to figure out if you need a bust adjustment, and the whole kind of course was based on, we started with darted bodices. No, we didn't. We started with princess seam bodices, and we had a choice of patterns. I chose the Elisalex dress, and I did it with sleeves. And then we also got to choose a darted bodice. I chose the Flora dress, and just did the straight necked version with straps. And then we were potentially going to get onto like the Anna dress. Oh, what kind of bodice is that? Oh yeah, like a grown on sleeve bodice, but we didn't get onto that in the end. But we got sent all the patterns afterwards, so we've got the patterns to play with. But essentially we did our full bust adjustments or small bust adjustments if we needed them. I needed to do a 1 inch small bust adjustment, and then we made a toile. So we figured out in advance that we needed to do those bust adjustments, made a toile, and then we like learned how to figure out what adjustments need to be made. So for example, for me, so this is my toile from my Elisalex dress, and I needed to pinch some out at the shoulders because I had a little bit of gaping around the neckline, and my shoulders are very square, so I needed to, you could do a proper like straight shoulder adjustment, but for me it was such a small amount I could just pinch it out at the top of the shoulder seam. I needed to take some out like here on the top part of the princess seam. What else did I need to do to mine? Oh yes, and I needed to raise the armhole, and I had to raise the armhole by quite a lot. I raised it by 1 inch because I've always really struggled with fitting woven patterns with sleeves, to the point that I basically gave up. It's why my wedding dress was made in a stretchy fabric for the body, because I just didn't know how to make sleeves fit. And I'd always be like, oh, well I can't move. And I've now learned it's because you need to raise the armhole up to give yourself increased range of movement. So I learn how to then diagnose the fit issues and then correct those fit issues on the paper pattern pieces. And just some of the tricks are just so good. Like, you think to yourself, well, how on earth am I going to do this? This is a 3D garment, this is a 2D piece of paper. How am I going to reflect these changes? But Elisalex is brilliant, and she teaches you how to do it, and I made loads of notes as I went. But you also get, as part of the course, a copy of the By Hand London like bodice fitting companion, which they sell on its own on the website. But yeah, I've got now my own notes coupled with this guide, which tells you about all these different adjustments. And I now just feel like I've learnt so much about how to actually get bodices to fit me. I think it was really well timed in my dressmaking journey as well, because I had started to get to the point where the novelty of just being able to make a garment, full stop, is now wearing off for me. For me, that's now not like good enough, and that's not to offend anybody, but for me and myself, for me it's no longer good enough to just make something. I want it to make something and it also fit me well, because I'm fussy, and if it doesn't fit me I'm not going to wear it, and I don't want to just churn out endless garments that don't fit me very well and therefore I'm not going to wear very much. So I just feel armed now with all this knowledge. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot to cover in 2 days, so I think we all left and were just totally exhausted and our minds were spinning with all our new knowledge that we'd picked up. But I just feel like I'm never going to not make a toile again, for a woven garment especially. Not only was the course fantastic because I learned so much, but it was also just amazing to spend the weekend, you know, with a lovely bunch of sewing ladies. I met, like, they were all lovely. I met several people who I'd spoken to on Instagram before, which is so nice to put a real face to a name. Yeah, it was fantastic. What I love, like, sewists are just such lovely people. You lot are great. Like, keep up the good work. And I'm actually now halfway through making my first proper Elisalex dress. I twirled the skirt as well as the bodice because I really just wanted to make sure I knew what I was getting myself into. So I'll put a picture in here of my twirl experiments. I widened the skirt because the Elisalex skirt is quite tulip shaped and I wanted it to be more straight. And yeah, let me show you the fabric actually because it's really cool. This is the fabric. I've shown it to you before. I bought it from the new craft house several months ago, so unfortunately I don't think they have it anymore. But it's like this amazing mountains slash fish scales. It's a bit bonkers, and I'm not quite sure how the colours work for me, but I've got my skirt here, partially sewn, partially pinned. You're not going to get a very good sense of it, but that's the skirt. And then I've got my bodice with my amazing alterations from the course up here, and I've got some fabric on the way from Minerva Crafts, because what I want to do is actually pick out one of the colours in here that suits me well and like create some accents and some borders on the dress to kind of make sure the colours are sort of flattering on me. So I couldn't decide. I ended up getting a couple of different options. I've got some like navy blue to pick out some of the blues that are in here, and I've got some lilac, or my mauve, but it's hard to tell on, it says it's mauve, but I think it's going to be a bit more lilac. It's kind of hard to tell online, isn't it, when you're really trying to get a precise colour. But yeah, I'm hoping to pick out some accents and line it, of course. So there we have it. That is a roundup of what I've been up to over the last month, 6 weeks or so. It's been a little while since I uploaded a video, but yeah, I've done an alteration, made myself a snuggly jumper, been on an amazing Bodice Fitting Masterclass course, which I really would highly recommend. It's a lot of money, but if you can afford it, maybe for your next birthday or something, or Christmas, whatever in the future, you could ask friends and relatives and family to, you know, give you little bits of money to save up towards it. It was so good. I'm so glad I did it, and it's really sparked my sojo, and I'm, yeah, cracking on with lots of sewing. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. Please do give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more of my videos. You can also find me over on Instagram. I'll put my handle down below if you'd like to see what I'm up to in between videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye!